Welcome to renovating number 5. This time we're decorating the original master bedroom. If you remember from the first walkthrough video, this room had some badly hung dark wallpaper and we're not sure what's being hidden. I'm keen to remove the paper to see what challenges I have to solve. The outer paper comes off really easy. There is something satisfying about stripping. With most of the paper removed, I wet the walls to help remove the liner. You can now start to see what the wall's paper was hiding. I know you're probably thinking, why aren't we using the steamer? Well, it came from the UK when we moved here 18 years ago, and it still has a UK plug on it. We tried using a plug converter, but as soon as it started to boil, it would trip the fuse, so we've given up. Luckily, the warm water is doing the trick.
So as you can see, we've stripped the wallpaper, and the wallpaper was hiding some little sins. Mainly the mould on the floor, on the walls. There is lots of it. All the walls are completely dry. So this could be historic mould, we're not sure. So we're going to treat it, see how it goes, and if it hopefully should disappear. And then we can paint the walls and not have to worry about it. But as everyone knows, mould's really dangerous, so we really do need to get rid of it first, before we can do anything else. Another problem we noticed that when we were rubbing or peeling the paper off, I accidentally nicked some of the walls, and because of the age was built in 1963, there was a chance that this had asbestos. So we were a little bit nervous because we could see fibres, I don't know if you can see this on the video, fibres coming through on the walls. But luckily I have a really great friend who's a builder, and he reassured us that this isn't asbestos, this is horsehair plaster, and the way you can find out the difference, other than doing a proper test that could take $400, is to actually push on the walls, and if you can, hopefully you hear that. If you hear it and it crackles as you push on the wall, then that's the horsehair plaster. Asbestos doesn't make a noise, which we know we have in the laundry at the moment, which we have to deal with. So luckily these walls are, apart from the mould, are safe. Okay, so there's different ways we can treat the mould. There's some tropical stuff that you can buy from the shops, which is mould action. There's mould away, and there's lots of different varieties of this. And I know this works because we use this in our bathroom too. And you can use vinegar, which apparently is the best way of getting rid of mould, is vinegar. The others do the same sort of thing, but hey, this is cheap. It's $2 for 2 litres or something like that. It's much cheaper than going out and buying expensive mould cleaning things. But I had this in the cupboard, so I'm just going to use it up first before I start using my vinegar. Cheers, I've got it. I'll try on the worst bits first. Oh, look at that. It's cleaning it away straight away. Now it's important that when you do the mould that you clean every bit, because the smallest little bit of mould spores will start up the whole house again, and it will just spread from one room to the next. It is that evil. It's actually, I think, worse than asbestos, really.
You can see even with a store-bought tropical mould remover, it doesn't remove every bit. I use the spray next. This one is quite toxic, so use it in a well-ventilated room or wear a good mask. Now for the home solution. I mixed washing liquid in with the vinegar and gave it a quick mix, but as you can see, it is doing a much better job than the first tropical cleaner, and just as good a job as the spray, and only at a fraction of the cost. With the walls now dry, I give them a quick rub down to remove any little fine bits of paper or paint chips. We also noticed when we removed the wallpaper there was a few hidden cracks in the plaster, like the corners of this wall. It's opposite the doorway, so I would imagine it's been knocked when someone's moved furniture. Someone has tried to repair the chip, but it needs doing again. I start by removing as much of the loose plaster as possible. Hopefully at this angle you can see the fibres of the horsehair plaster. Because the chip is quite deep, I will need to build us up over a couple of days, so I'll put in a rough fill to start with and then give it a rub down and put a finish coat to define the edge. Whilst I wait for the corners to dry, I'll give the rest of those nicks in the walls a quick fill.
Okay, so this is the crack in the ceiling. Now, it's a little bit worse than it was originally in my original film, because I went up and had a look at it to inspect it and see what it was, and somebody previously had tried gluing it together, and so I had to remove the glue, which obviously has made the crack even bigger. So I'm not sure whether I can just plaster this together, because I don't know if you can see it actually. It actually moves. When you push on it, it's obviously got some moisture at some point in its time, and the horsehair plaster's cracked and it's dropped. So I'm going to try and attempt to plaster it together, but I might have to completely chip it all out, put a little bit of board in, and then plaster around that. We'll see how it goes. Not holding much hope, but I don't really want to ruin the coving the ornate ceiling, because I particularly do like the period stuff. So we'll try and do my best to try and repair it. Some would say bodge, repair. Okay.
The big crack in the ceiling plastered up better than expected, and it's nearly disappeared. I also did a bit of filling around the cornice, as this had gaps. But the corners of the wall is the best achievement. That looks much better now. Not bad for an amateur. One of the items in the building report was lead paint in the frames because of the age of the house. So a really nice man from Bunnings helped us find a $20 kit, which saved us forking out $500 odd using a professional. It's always pays to ask in the store. I've put on a sacrificial coat of paint to seal the plaster, but also to see if there is any more marks that need fixing. Sadly, I did discover every time I rolled the walls, it would start blistering and in some cases pull the old paint off. So I'm going to have to fill the walls and rub them down again. I ended up doing this twice because the paint kept blistering. We're not totally sure why, but think it's reaction from the old paint with the new or old wallpaper adhesive. Either way, it's really frustrating. I'm over plastering the rubbing down the walls.
I had to do a lot of work on the ceiling because it sagged in a big place. It was completely disappeared, and it was very concaved, and I had to refill. And you can sort of see, coming a bit closer, tripping over it's a bit rough, and there's little cracks in it where it shrunk because there was so much plaster in there. It needs another skim to finish it off, and I will do that. I am getting the pox of filling and rubbing things down at the moment though, so I might change it up and actually paint the windowsill today, because that's all rubbed down and ready to go. So I think that's what I'm going to do today. One thing I did notice is when I was rubbing it down, I'm not sure if you can actually see, but the filler, this is silicone they've stuck in the window. Oh, not pointing in the way. This is silicone they've stuck in the window, and that's proud. So I need to peel that back because you can't paint on silicone. Don't know why they did that. But there's massive gaps between the glass and the frame, so I need to give that a bit of a put a bit of filler in those. It's the same on the sides and particularly underneath. They've obviously done the bottom because obviously maybe that was what they thought was leaking, but they didn't do underneath the top, and you can get and you can see at the top. You can see at the top there's quite a bigger gaps that run through where they haven't pointed. They don't point to see things. You can probably see better in this one shot where all the plaster has come out. It's all brittle and fallen to pieces. Probably really should peel it out, but it does seem to be stuck in fast from about 50 years of paint, so I'm going to probably just leave it in there and just use a bit of polyfiller to fill it in.
Just about to paint the windowsill, the sun was shining, and then we have a hailstorm. And as quick as it came, it's gone again. The sun is back out. Gotta love Australian weather. I removed the old carpet and underlay. It's amazing how many staples we used to hold this carpet down. They really didn't want it to move. Because I would like to save the floor, I put the old underlay down to protect it whilst I decorate it. It also gives me something soft to kneel on when I'm painting. The room already looks much better with white window frames and skirtings, and with a quick coat of ceiling paint it will look even better. But these ceiling blades are going to have to go.
So what are you thinking, Summer? Is it to your taste? No? I need to try harder, do I? I need to work more and less videoing. Is that what you're trying to say? Okay, I'll get on with it then. See you later. Bye.
Only thing left to do is paint the walls with Tallman's Cotton Sheets paint. All done, but you're going to have to wait for the room reveal at the end of the series. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe and share.